Hello, New Wave of British Heavy Metal.com here. Before we start this little video, if I may make the usual plea for a favour, please, and that's if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel. That'd be a big help. It really would, and appreciated. In this little quick video, we're going to look at V1 Armageddon, End of the Beginning. There is a strong New Wave of British Heavy Metal connection here. And let me try and clue you in on that. Now, you might already be marginally familiar with a band which were around way back in the original New Wave of British Heavy Metal days, and a band which is still around today as I'm recording this, and you might say that they've enjoyed some moderate success ever since the original Nawabum days. And they've sold albums by the Pantechnicon load. Never mind the cliched truckload. They've managed a little bit more than that. Now, can you guess who they are? Of course, the answer's Iron Maiden. And before Maiden burst out into the big time, and they had a number of lineups leading up to that point before they became known, and many of the former members of Iron Maiden, and by former I mean pre-debut album, most of those members have arguably not left their mark on the music scene since. And a little anecdote is I used to work with a guy that was in one of those early lineups of Iron Maiden, but that's a whole other story for another day, and not for today. But anyway, two of those former Iron Maiden members, i.e. pre-debut album Iron Maiden members, were the vocalist Dennis Wilcock and guitarist Terry Wophram. Now, they exited Iron Maiden in the late 1970s, and at that time put together a band of their own, V1. And things were looking pretty good for them at that point, but it soon fizzled away and amounted to nothing. And that was that, or seemed to be that was them as far as any new wave of British heavy metal history would be concerned. But that changed about 3 years ago when Wilcock and Wophram reignited V1, so to speak. Forgive me a slight pun there, and put the band back together with some new members, and put this album out, Armageddon, End of the Beginning. And it's really quite a good album, and does ring true to that new wave of British heavy metal heritage as well, where they originally came from, of course. There's a really nice punchy opener that drops a large hint about what's to follow, and some cheesy lyrics about how the V1 rocket's going to rock your house down. And it gallops along from there, and it manages to be quite a punchy, hard-hitting song that's still quite economical, if that's not too much of a contradiction. And then as it goes on from there, they stretch the muscles out a little bit wider with a longer tune in Taking You Higher. And there's enough riffage and frantic fretwork going on to keep anybody's ears happy in that song. Don't Cause a Scene as a sort of a stuttering riff and a catchy chorus to it. A really short, sharp rocker. Then we get into Lights, which is around about 9 minutes or so, and it goes this way and that and meanders around and there and back again and twisting and turning, and there's even a bit of jazz rock going on here, and it's really well put together in 9 minutes. She's So Easy, straight ahead kind of rocker, as you might imagine from the title. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what She's So Easy is all about, but it's enjoyable all the same. Croydon Boys, what can I say about Croydon Boys? Well, it's the work of madmen. It's one that if you do use the skip button, use it. Croydon Boys, disaster. But then the following cut, Rockstar, makes up for that Croydon Boys mistake. Rockstar really is an excellent song. And then we've got the closing trio of Train, Runner and Armageddon, which together demonstrate enough variety, variation and all-round rocker armour to suggest that V1, when this album came out, say about, text message, around about 3 years ago, I think it was 2017 when it came out, it's much more than two really early members of Iron Maiden that most people have forgotten about. and them coming back to try and cash in on that former Iron Maiden tag. That there's much more to V1 and this album than that. It stands on its own merits and it stands up very well. So I think since then V1 have fizzled out into nothing again. But you know, V1, Armageddon, End of the Beginning, it's much more than a new wave of British heavy metal related curiosity, because it does stand up well on its own. If you would like to check it out, as always, underneath in the description is a link to the album on Amazon and a link to the blog post on the website if you'd like to read that. I hope you do, because say this V1 does stand on its own, and it's not just two ex-geezers from Iron Maiden before they were famous trying to trade on that tag. So check it out. I would encourage you to do so. And as always, please subscribe to the channel before you go if you wouldn't mind. And as always, again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and take care.